single millimetre of his car because he's taking it so close to the competitors there.
And the other thing is, he doesn't want to let up. Let's listen.
Okay, Mike, let me know if you need help with the balance. Let me know if you need help with the balance. Cool, okay, copy. Do you think you are quicker? Do you think you are quicker? Yeah, I think we're on 6 hours, so
Do you think you're quicker? Are you kidding me?
Yes.
So no mention.
None.
Yeah, no.
The smoke and the oil on his windscreen.
No, because that will be between the garage and the Pratt purchase. There will be nothing on air about that. Nothing. Now, there might be a pre-agreed system of code words, your option 21 or something, but you know,
Mike would have reported to back to the pits, and you know, there would be a radio communication saying there's oil on my windscreen. Or
Fernando is smokier than you.
Yes. Oh yes. Well, again, you know, now all Conway can do is push. If there's the slightest chink in the number 8 car's armour, Conway has to really force the issue more than ever before, more than even he's been doing so far. He's got to force the issue.
Conway has been
possibly let off.
Buemi's pulled a gap now, though.
Yeah.
What's that all about? He's got a 1.5-second gap on him.
It's getting lighter as it's burning off oil.
Yeah. Yeah, last lap, he was 9/10 quicker than Mike. Okay, Mike got caught with a bit of traffic, but yeah, Buemi is not letting up. That car's not going any slower because of the smoke. So yeah, maybe they are on top of it and they've discussed it, and yeah, this is happening, don't worry about it, crack on.
Again, 9/10 of a second over a 12-kilometre lap. We make it sound like it's a lifetime, don't we? And to the drivers, it feels like it is, because what's almost within touching distance is suddenly just a stretch away, and in fact beyond a lunge away, and that's the thing. And again, the number 8 car finds the gap in traffic, and Conway does, and he's been held up by 2 cars. That was the Wins Ford, the leader in the GTE AM class, and there he goes by the LMP2 car as well.
Well, the interesting thing here is going to be whether or not Conway can close back up when they get to clear air.
Luckily for us, there is no battle directly on track for the lead in GTE Pro or the lead in LMP2, but behind the peloton in GTE Pro, there's a massive battle. Joey Hand is 6/10 ahead of Scott Dixon, and just under 2 seconds behind Mike Rockenfeller's Corvette. The car that led about 4 hours into the race is Jonathan Bomarito. So all of those battles continue. There's Rob Loipen talking to Alistair Moffat, who's the press and PR man at Toyota Gazoo Racing.
Right, gentlemen, I think I'm going to go and put my head down for a wee minute and leave you to it.
Well, don't expect to see the status quo. Have a look at what's going on now as you go to bed.
Yeah. Mental image, visualise this.
So this week, pulling the cloth off the tray of objects, you've got 5 seconds to look at it. I'm going to put the cloth back. When you come back in the morning, you've got to spot who's missing.
Right, okay.
Without looking at page 2 of the timing screen. All right, so Peter Dumbreck heading away to his bead. And we will continue to watch with interest the progress of this battle for the lead, for supremacy, for the win at Le Mans potentially, and maybe also for World Championship honours between the 2 Toyota Gazoo Racing TS050s. Graham Goodwin, Toyota announced in the press conference yesterday that they will contest Season 8 of the World Endurance Championship with this car. They will continue on with the car, and then they are committed to hypercars in Season 9. Now, there are 2 ways of going hypercar racing. You can either start with an actual hypercar, so a car that is either in development, like the Aston Martin Valkyrie, or already exists, like, say, I don't know, for example, a McLaren Senna or something. Or, so you can develop an existing road car into a racing car, into a hypercar, or you can go a prototype route similar to DPI with a tailor-made chassis, a race-bred chassis that's not a road car, and either a road car engine, let's say let's say for argument your Corvette or your Porsche, you've got a really superb engine, you can put it into a prototype chassis and then body it to look like the family, much like, say, the Mazdas in DPI are, or the Corvette in DPI is. And so they're trying to open their arms to as many potential roads in. So if you're, say, ORECA or Ligier or Dallara, you might be looking for a manufacturer to build a car for. On the other hand, if you're Reinhold Jost, you might be going, oh, I wonder how we can hypercar the living daylights out of this Mazda and see whether Mazda fancy coming back and winning Le Mans again.
It comes down, doesn't it, to the this battle still continues under 2 seconds between the two, and no sign of Sébastien Buemi slowing up either.
No.
It comes down to just exactly where that interest is going to come from. We know some names already. We know Aston Martin. We know Toyota. We know Porsche have told us that they are keeping a very close weather eye on this. We know also that others are waiting in the wings. McLaren certainly have shown interest. We know they've had an engine program designed to fulfill a potential hypercar program. We know that Ferrari have been in the room. We know that Ford have talked around maybe doing this, maybe doing that, maybe doing something else completely. We know all sorts of things, but what's going to matter is whether or not you can deliver that program for that kind of budget and make those cars competitive across the various platforms. Can you make a road-going hypercar, race version of road-going hypercar, competitive with something that which will be, with the greatest of respect, a mildly dumbed-down version of this car?
Well, you might end up with some real left-field players. So somebody, you know, a brand new supercar manufacturer like Marussia might end up with a hypercar as opposed to just a supercar, and actually maybe develop a road car out of a prototype-based race car. Two Toyotas continue to run just a second apart on the road, with Sébastien Buemi ahead of Mike Conway. Buemi's pretty unflappable as a driver. He doesn't make many errors, but he does get on the radio a lot, and he doesn't see that. Well, he does sometimes.
Mike's closer
the
now.
Engineers.
This is closer. This is around well, second flat across. In fact, 9/10 of a second now, as the Toyota Gazoo Racing team are put through their paces. It's the midnight ballet class, always popular.
Again, it's all part of keeping the blood going and keeping the team awake and alert and
be a tree,
relaxed. Music and movement.
Buzzy, buzzy bee. No, maybe not.
See, Philippe Leloup at the back, he's management. He doesn't have to do all of this. I've done a bit, but I'm not humping tyres around, so I'm... Yeah.
I've lifted that cup of coffee. I feel fine.
Tote that bale, dig that car out of the gravel.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, Fernando's joining in with the flappy hands dance.
He's not that happy, is he?
The flappy hands dance of disgruntled Spanish.
He's not happy.
Well, flipping heck, I got out of bed for this.
What do you mean he's smoking, he's saying?
Oh, no, he's not. He's saying, what do you mean it's not coming in?
Here we go.
Sébastien, do you want to stay in the car for one more stint? Do you want to stay in the car for one more stint with the same tires? Or do you want to do the driver change? Because we need to do a further stint on these tires, so we would keep these tires. So it's either you do the third stint on those tires, or Fernando does it. Up to you. I think it's better it's me then.
So somebody's given Fernando a bit of a shake and said, into the pits, garage. Then they've asked the question.
Oh, dear.
That's why Fernando was going, well, for goodness sake.
I could have had another bit of a kip. I was watching, I don't know, Deal or No Deal.
I was watching Drive to Survive on Netflix.
Absolutely. few drops of rain now reported as the Toyotas meet traffic for the first time in what feels like about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's probably about 45 seconds.
Well, no, it's not, because, of course, they were behind a safety car queue, so there was several miles of open road between them and the next safety car queue. But now there is solid traffic in front. There is barely even a second gap between cars all the way from where they are now approaching Indianapolis to Tertre Rouge. So this is going to be traffic central. He's got a Corvette in front, then there's another and another and another and another and another and another and another car in front.
And all of a sudden, it just takes one car and it's nose to tail. Just to update on the positions in class, Lawrence Rantor is pulling away from Daniel Serra, now about 12 seconds to the good in the now two-car battle in GT Pro. Behind, though, Bamber, Makovicky, Scott Dixon, Mike Rockenfeller, Jonathan Bomarito, Linus Stern.
Well, we're saying a two-car battle. They've been separated by the safety car. It's not a two-car battle. It's still a 10-car battle.
Yes.
It's just two have gone up the road. Whether the breakaway stays in front, you know, this is a long stage on the Tour de France, so there's an awful lot of things that might happen in between times, but you're absolutely right. At the moment, Vantour and Serra, and then Bamber leads the rest.
8 in the pits, so he has called...
No, he's taking fuel, but he's staying in and he's keeping the same tyres on.
Absolutely.
And that was the tail there. The engineer said, we've got to keep the tyres on. You're at the end of a triple. Are we going to give Fernando the Nacadol rubber? This is where the rain is, by the way. Exit the Ford chicane and just around the pit area. Call it rain. You can see how few drops there are on the camera crew, on the camera there in the pit lane.
We'll watch the team going to work as they do that. I can just update you with what's going on in GTM. The Keating Ford well ahead due to safety car gappage. From the TF Sports Aston Martin of Charlie Eastwood, Cooper McNeil is about 17 seconds back with Rodrigo Baptista, the JMW car, right behind him.
Now, I would like somebody at TF Sport, I know they can't because they're not listening to us, they've got a race to run. The TF Sport Aston was down in 10th, 12th place early in the race, and it has just consistently driven its way all the way through the field into second place. Keating Motorsports also didn't qualify that strongly. They wanted to get their drivers in, they wanted to get their laps in. Let's hear from Porsche.
Possible small raindrops in Porsche curves.
Copy. So Keating, first time here for the team, first time here for the car in AM spec. Get it into the race. Don't be a hero, don't do anything silly, get everybody qualified, run through the job list, get everything done, yada, yada, yada. Now they seem to be giving the horse its head a little bit. Keating were out front, TF Sport in second. JMW also didn't really qualify that strongly in third place with their Ferrari. WeatherTech Ferrari in fourth. The cars that did qualify strongly in GTE AM, first, second and third, by the way, were from Stuttgart. Where are the Porsches? Well, the best of them is the Team Project 1 car in fifth, Dempsey Proton 77 car in sixth position. So the Porsches that qualified so strongly are actually not having as good a race in AM as they are in Pro, where they didn't qualify as strongly.
Absolutely. By the way, as we've been describing that class, Baptista has taken third position from Cooper McNeil. I think they're in close contention, and that's a live battle right now. And
they are 0.2 of a second apart, and Pat Lindsay in the Project 1 car is only 2 seconds behind that as well. So there's a massive three-way AM class battle for that third position.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're riding on board with Earl Bamber in the 93 car. Few spits of rain. In fact, it's now not even being reported on the screen. Here's one of our two Kessel Racing Ferraris.
Sure, that's the 83 car.
And again, we talked about this, didn't we, in the pit lane, Graham, when we were walking up and down on Tuesday. They're so close to identical. One's got purple stripes, one's got pinky red stripes. Said at night they're just going to be identical, and they are identical. Absolutely. Unfortunately, really hard to tell the difference.
It's Michelle Gatting, I think, in that 83 car.
It has been every time I've looked at it. Yeah. Well, it hasn't actually. I have mentioned Rahel Frey a couple of times. Into the pit lane comes 93. This is Earl.
His Corsa already on pit lane with the 51 car. That leaves Lawrence Vantour to pull away alone for the time being. But have a quick look in a moment at just how long it is before we expect to see the 92 car in.
And also the leaders in LMP2. G drives Roman Rusinov can't be far away from needing a pit stop. Pierre Thirier 2 minutes behind him. Another minute behind him in third, Gabriel Aubry in the 38 Jackie Chan DC Racing car. Cleaning off some of the rubber smears. And that's one of the things about racing rubber, is that it is so soft when the balls get flicked up against the car, it leaves these big smears, the way a bug does on your windscreen, only much, much harder to remove. See the litre counter there on the fuel tank? That's so that if they're going for a short fill, the man will be told we need 50 or 30 or whatever it is right at the end of the race, and so he can measure that exactly without having to look away from the car and up at the fuel rig.
Yeah, it was lap 147 last time in for Laurens Vanthoor. He's got a little way to go yet before we're going to see the lead car in GT Pro on pit lane.
And he only took it over at the last stop, so he will stay in probably for a further run. Are they going to we haven't seen anybody triple stint a GT car yet. This might be the time. Leader, Toyota number 7. Oh yes, that's because Sébastien Buemi just stopped. Whew.
I just think another 4 laps for Laurens Vanthoor before we see him down pit lane.
Yeah,
maybe 3. Meanwhile, on board with the number 7 car, course into the lead now, a full minute ahead after that 63 seconds on pit road for the 8 car.
We were talking about the battle for 3rd place in GTE AM, and TF Sports' Charlie Eastwood and Clearwater's Matteo Cressoni have just been in and out of the pits for a fill-up. Will Owen ready to take over. In fact, he is not ready to take over. These are previously recorded pictures. Will Owen is, in fact, in the number 32 United Autosports car. Never too early to brush your teeth.
Absolutely.
And never too late for another cup of tea, especially when you're staying up all day, all night, and all day again. And all night again, because you've got to drive home tomorrow. Nat Berton exits the pits, or enters the pits in the number 3 Rebellion that is in 3rd place. There's your race leader, Mike Conway.
Back to live, and it is still, well, in fact, Mike pulling away just a little.
Back to live, back to reality.
Absolutely.
So remember,
Sébastien Buemi now on old rubber for this final stint of his efforts during this period of night, at least, before we see Fernando Alonso back into the fray.
3rd and 4th have now stopped because Stoffel Van Dorn, I knew it was Van something.
Vans.
Yeah, it's staring at me in the face, and I'm still reading the wrong name, even though I'm looking at it. The 11 SMP racing car, the remaining SMP racing car, has also just been through the pits for fuel and service. Did Stoffel just take over from Mikel Alishin, Mr. Man with the data tracking screen?
Here as we got
7's in. Why? For why, Keats? For why? Did he need fuel? Yes, he did. He was a stop behind the number 8 car. So Mike Conway comes in from the race lead, which he inherited when the number 8 car came in.
It will be the end of his 12th lap, and that's bang on time.
Door open.
Stoffel Van Dorn, 11 laps on this stint for Stoffel.
Out gets Mike Conway. His stint is done, his job done for the moment. And into that number 7 car gets Kamui Kobayashi. Just remind you, the number 7 car, 2nd in the World Championship. And we are not now in the early stages of the World Championship. We are in the very final race of the World Championship. This is a weird thing to get your head round. For those of us that have been coming to Le Mans for a number of years, this is the race where victory can set you up for a tilt at the title at the end of the year. If you don't win here, you ain't going to win the title in a lot of the classes this weekend.
Close to a 60-week World Championship season. Highly unusual, unique, in fact, must be the longest World Championship season in history.
Yep.
But it's about to come to an end in, well, 12 hours and 40 minutes time.
And a lap, probably, because by the time the clock gets to 3 o'clock Central European summertime tomorrow afternoon.
Is that the 2 Toyotas nose to tail? I think it is.
Is it? Well, number 7 car appears to be smoking a little bit of haze as well. Do they all do that, sir?
It's a feature. Cathode pose there.
On board with Kamui Kobayashi.
I think they are right together. I think there's half a second.
Yep. The car in front of you is a Toyota.
Which means that the cars have changed position in the pits. That despite the fact it was a longer pit stop.
I'm not sure.
The 7.
Is that the 8 just in front?
No.
I didn't think it was. No, I think
behind him.
Buemi is behind him still, but only by half a second.
So we'll see as they cross the second timing beam.
Well, if that was Buemi in front of him, then that Toyota was in a lot of trouble.
That was United Autosports.
It is the United Autosports LMP2 car. Not sure whether it's 22 or 32, but they're 7th and 8th anyway with Phil Hansen and Will Owen.
They've had a quiet race so far, but one of those quiet races that looks like it might produce something at the end of this.
Well, listen, if you don't produce headlines during the race, you often produce them at the end of the race. Corvette, we just passed a Corvette and I noticed it had lights on the side,
well, that's it,
which means it's in the top 3 again. In fact, it's second now, Mike Rockenfeller's car. Oh, beg your pardon, third, yes.
Yeah. 22 seconds back from Daniel Serra, who's just out of the pits.
Who we've just passed. Just went past the Daniel Serra Ferrari.
Indeed, 7 is ahead of the 8, so that would have been outlap for the Sébastien Buemi car.
We change on board, and now the car ahead of you is a Toyota because we're looking at the number 7 car. Sweeping through Indianapolis, and the onboard there gives you a good view of the banked right into the banked left.
Lock up there from Kamui Kobayashi.
Well, that's because he's not trying. Yeah, not much. See, there is haze coming out of the back of the number 7 car when you see it in the lights of the number 8. I wonder if that is a design feature.
It's very strange, isn't it?
And there's a lot of haze.
Another one.
It's exactly like the number 8 car was doing when the number 7 was following. Maybe that is just what they do. Maybe they are generating enough underbody downforce to suck dust up off the road. There is as much visible something out at the back of the number 7, except the one difference is Buemi's screen. He's gone off. Buemi's screen is not streaked with muck, so that muck on Mike Conway's screen may well have been from other cars in the safety car queue. On board with Buemi, going around the remaining. That was easy to identify. That's the 77 Dempsey Proton car because the 88 isn't running anymore. I like it when we come down to single car teams. It makes life a lot easier for idiots.
7 still doing exactly what the 8 was doing earlier.
But then so is the car in front of it. Whatever the prototype is they're just catching was also streaming a little plume of something out the back. Maybe they do all do that, sir.
Punch out these corners is just mesmerising stuff.
Imagine being in the AM-class Ferrari. This thing takes off like you've just hit a brick wall. And the Toyota comes by you so fast under acceleration out of Tertre Rouge. Astonishing.
Just those moments when you see this punch from the in-car. It's a fabulous piece of film of a test session for inside a previous iteration of LMP2. Johnny Kane at the wheel at Paul Ricard, with an Audi catching him on the Mistral straight. Goes by just before the end of the lap, and then as Johnny is going through the gears in what is, let's face it, not a slow car, the Stracker Gibson at the time, the Audi's gone. It is out of sight. Purely on accelerated punch out of the turn. Kobayashi now 2 seconds to the good.
Number 7 car has got pace on the number 8, no matter who's in either of them, apart from Fernando, who seems to be getting the most out of the number 8 car. Mike Rockenfeller now down to 5th in the GTE Pro class, having stopped. He stayed in, but he has dropped behind Fred Makovici and Earl Bamber's Porsches. 91, one of the European cars from Makovici. 93, one of the US entered cars. They just went by the 28 TDS LMP2 car. That's in 6th position in the class. Mathieu Vazivière trying to chase down David Heinemeier Hansen. There's a half-minute gap between them. And Heinemeier Hansen, as we saw in Sebring, absolutely keeping his head above water against a young ex-single-seater ace like Vazivière. Heinemeier Hansen, really, really impressive again in Sebring. We said this earlier. Again, just putting in properly decent stints here. Very quick, very consistent. I hope I haven't just talked him off into a barrier.
Fastest lap of its race for the wins, the Keating Motorsport Ford.
Oh, yes.
The hands of Felipe Fraga, 3:54.760. Yellow flags at Marshall Post 25.
That's exit of Indianapolis. So somebody has not exited Indianapolis.
Keep an eye on what that might be.
Well, there's nobody stationary there, so actually those Marshall's posts might be to recover some debris. Yellow is back in, so somebody may have gone skating through the gravel, but they didn't get stuck in it. Into Mulsanne corner. That corner reprofiled basically by the insertion of a roundabout there on the public road. So it used to be a proper almost 90-degree right-hander, not quite a handbrake turn, but it was a big stop. Now it's a rolling right-hander in to a tighter right-hander. 37, driver change. Out gets David Heinemeier Hansen. Well, I didn't talk him into a mistake. I talked him into a pit stop, so that's all good news. And taking over from him...
Ricky Taylor, I think.
I think,
Ricky Taylor.
What, with the big R on the side?
Might
You're
just be
absolutely
Ricky.
right. Well spotted. Well spotted. And of course, Jordan King, the third driver of that car.
Neat and tidy stop apart from David Heinemeier Hansen, accidentally kicking the driver's seat insert out of the hands of Ricky Taylor. Replay here of 38 car.
Yeah, that's the other Jackie Chan DC Racing car. That's the car that's in third. Gabriel Aubry. I don't think he's done anything to disgrace himself. This is the car that's second. Pierre Thirier for Signatech Alpine, and the leader in LMP2 is the number 26 car. That is Roman Rusinov for GE Drive Racing. On board with 69. This is one of the Chip Ganassi Team USA cars. In fact, it's the lead Ford of them all. This is IndyCar champion and Indy 500 winner Scott Dixon. And just in front of him is Mike Rockenfeller, ex-Audi factory driver, of course, now part of the Corvette endurance program, Corvette Racing in the States.
Well, two ex-Audi drivers, of course, on the strength. Marcel Fessler snugly out of the race after that brush with the 88 Porsche that pitched the Corvette into the wall. And I have to say, my personal view, inexplicably called against Fessler.
Yeah, I tend to agree, I have to say. It looked like the AM-class driver saw the blue lights, saw the blue flags, allowed the faster car to go through, but was unaware that there was a second faster car and closed the door. Now, he had to start making the turn, but I was talking to Tom Christensen as we were watching the replays, and he said a pro driver would have allowed the gap because he didn't suddenly see blue flags as he was midway through the turn. He knew it was coming. And it's self-preservation is the key there in the Porsche curves especially. And unfortunately, Satoshi Hoshino did shut the door. Now, of course, the onus is on the driver of the faster car to get through safely. But he was going through an open door that swung shut in front of him. I do agree. I mean, my assessment is not that of a racing driver. I just looked at it as I saw it. And it was interesting to hear somebody like Tom Christensen saying, no, that was pretty much, you know, an amateur driving mistake.
Yep. This is a live battle now in GTE Pro. This is Scott Dixon pulling up onto the rear of Mike Rockenfeller in the sole remaining Corvette. This is a battle for 5th position. 69 Ford on 63 Corvette.
While we're talking Fords, the Keating Motorsport Ford that leads in GTE AM has just completed a pit stop. Felipe Fraga stays in, so he has gone back out in the lead of the race in the AM class. Pat Lindsay up to second for Team Project One. Christian Reed up to third in the 77 Dempsey Proton car. So Charlie Eastwood down to fourth for TF Sport. And Ryan Baptista has just stopped for JMW in fifth, ahead of Cooper McNeil in the WeatherTech car in sixth. That's a battle of two Ferraris, fifth and sixth. Lawrence Vantour leading in the GTE Pro class. Daniel Serra, a safety car gap behind him.
The GTM class has got some ebb and flow, the kind of ebb and flow we've seen previously with the Pro class, as the charging Ford goes by That was the MR Racing car, the number 70 car of Vedichiva III.
Outside the top 6 in the AM class, 7th Clearwater Racing, 8th on their debut at Le Mans. Car Guys with their Ferrari. Car Guy Racing, their target, Graham, clearly has to be get a finish. That's a huge result on your debut. 100%. However, at almost halfway through the race, they're now going, get a finish, top 6. Get a finish, top 6, top
Absolutely.
6. Top 6 is look at it, and then every time you look at it, and then somebody has a problem, you sort of maybe creep a little closer. The racer comes out and they get a finish. Let's not be silly here. Let's just be grateful of getting a finish. You know, the racer comes out.
You're looking for the next target, aren't you? You're always looking for how can we measure progress? Is it going to be around lap pace? Is there a scalp that can be claimed? Is there an advantage that can be gained by doing this little tweak with strategy, taking that little bit of risk? And that's going to come more into it when we get beyond halfway in about 28 minutes and move towards morning.
Racing drivers do this. If there's a car in front, pass him. If there's not a car in front, leave him.
Yeah.
Leave him behind. And that's it. And wherever you are in the field, that's what you want to do. Odd orange lights in the buttresses of the pale blue and red Ford. I saw that in the evening in qualifying. I thought, that's really interesting. Could you not have found some pale blue lights or some red lights or something?
I think that they're identified, aren't they, by the colour of the lights as well.
I know, but it doesn't match the colour scheme or suit the colour scheme in any way, shape or form. The yellow flags are out again at Mulsanne corner. Marshall's Post 20. That's what MP stands for, Marshall's Post 20. We don't talk about turns.
Car 49 in trouble. That is the ARC Bratislava car. Henning Enqvist again. Yellow's been removed at Marshall's Post 20, so presumably Enqvist has got the car moving again.
He's been unable to count from 300 down to 200 without missing one out.
Rejoined, but slow after Mulsanne for the Slovakian entered car, the LMP2 AM winning squad from the Asia Le Mans series.
So he's overshot at, from this we gather, he's overshot at Mulsanne, and we're now coming down to the Mulsanne corner. If we stay on board with the Ford, I know we're not at the first chicane, aren't we? If we stay on board later on in the lap, we will pass presumably a limping car, which might have some damage. The 49 car might possibly have a puncture. So while we're saying it's Henning Enqvist, it may not necessarily be the fault of Henning Enqvist. He might just be the passenger in that particular incident. Christensen, Escher and Vantors, defending champion 92 Porsche. In the pit stop, in the pits, this is the leader in GTE Pro.
Now Yellow's at Indianapolis. Car 49 is stopped there now.
Indianapolis.
So it's 49 is struggling now.
Yeah. Well, now he may have gone down the escape road and he stopped between, I think he stopped at the left-hander at Indianapolis rather than the right-hander approach to Indianapolis. Out goes the GT Pro leader. He'll retain the lead because Daniel Serra was a minute and a half behind and more. Playing lucky birds? Who knows? Probably watching all the action on live timing on the WC app.
I'm sure that's true. As any decent viewer would, of course. Indeed. You don't get this level of entertainment just anywhere, you know. At 2:34 in the morning.
Good morning wherever you are, good afternoon wherever you are.
Absolutely. Keep an eye out here, where is the 49 car? And there, it's in the barrier.
In the barrier or parked up by the barrier?
It was nose into the barrier. Slow zone is coming.
Yeah. Yes, he's gone off, hasn't he?
So we're going to watch and see what happens here. Stage right. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Just to the right of the grey bits. In the immortal words of Doc Hudson, keep it on the grey stuff, son. That's what it's there for. And Henning Enqvist just, I mean, you know, it's a really quick sequence, and for any driver, it's a really quick sequence.
But that car had been reported running slowly. Must have been some form of problem. He may well not been able to turn the car.
Yeah.
Dan Rontelli Roberto Lacorte from Setela Racing, Valois Corsa, and the end of an adventure with Valois Corsa. After this race, they will move to a new service provider with AF Corsa, with the World Endurance Championship beckoning for the very proudly Italian team. Great to see them sporting a very familiar shade of green in highlights on the Italian blue Dallara in tribute to Henri Pescarolo.
Now, we just saw the battle here that we are riding with. This is the Corvette of Mike Rockenfeller ahead of the Ford of Scott Dixon. We just whistled by the 97, the only running Aston Martin in the Pro class. And that car, Johnny Adam at the wheel, 53rd out of 54 cars. Okay, 55, let's say. No, let's say 54, because the ARC Bratislava car isn't running at the moment, and SMP's number 17 car isn't going to run again.
No, that one is done.
So apart from the Bicoles, which has had more pit visits even than the 98 Aston Martin
20 pit stops.
Johnny Adam basically last, apart from one Am Ferrari. That's going to be a long and wretched 12 hours for the AMR crew.
Yep, if you got vouchers for every time you down pit lane, they'd be rich people now in vouchers at Bicoles. 20 pit stops inside 12 hours. Slow zone in place. There we see the
left front, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Probably flat. It left a mark all the way down there.
Oh dear.
And Henning Enqvist, again, as you say, may have been struggling first at Mulsanne Corner and then also at Indianapolis with a problem not entirely of his own making.
Yeah, team manager Michaela there from ARC Bratislava as we pass the scene of the incident. No, we don't. Wrong, misidentified that in the dark.
Twisty bit.
Twisty bit.
Different twisty bit. So the slow zone there to protect the workers. Again, it's an 80 km/h mandatory speed. So the rest of the track is free for full bore racing. But then as you rush down towards Indianapolis, basically from the kink, in fact from Mulsanne, you're doing 80 km/h from here. That's the look, see the flashing lights there on the side. Slow zone now. So everybody's on the limiter, and of course the Pro closes right up on the car in front, because you don't have to be slow before the slowdown, in the same way you don't have to be doing 80 Ks before the white line at pit entry. So don't do it earlier than you need to. Right behind the Corvette. Great view of the back of the Corvette. I've never noticed that cooling extractor fan on the back of the Corvette behind. Look at the grille here. It's got a rear oil cooler. It's got an extractor fan to help draw air through it from the underfloor area. Bit Brabham fan car-y, but it's actually got a cooler there as opposed to just made up.
Just right by the decal there, underneath the number. Wishing well to our good friend Marshall Pruitt's good lady Chaparral, recovering from a bout of ill health. We're thinking of you, dude, and your good lady. And I think somewhere between 15 and 20 cars carrying that decal. Thanks to Andy Blackmore for a lovely design. And to Ryan Smith from Corvette Racing for arranging for those to be printed.
Let's see if we stay on board with the Ford, what's happening down at Indianapolis. This will be their first view of what's going on. See tyre marks on the curbs. And then the ARC Bratislava car and
it's almost clear. The Manitou is actually almost cleared. So I don't think it'd be too much longer before we get back to full green running.
Agreed. Which means that anybody that gets held up in this slow zone is going to potentially lose out.
Back to green at that point.
Yeah.
And away they go. Corvette very quick in the straight line there, isn't it? Needed no second bidding, Mike Rockenfeller.
Yeah, America's sports car is looking strong again here this year after really struggling last season.
Well, he's cleared the Project One Porsche, the two Fords behind, nose to tail. So whilst Scott Dixon is trying to catch Mike Rockenfeller. He's being caught by Sébastien Buemi.
Now, during the last couple of laps, Pat Lindsay has been into the pits in that Project One car, and it's the tallest Porsche driver in the field, Jörg Bergmeister, who is back at the wheel. So that is not an easy pass, that Team Project One car, because Bergmeister can't do driving slowly. We may have gravel on track at Marshall's Post 25, and that is in the middle of Indianapolis, which presumably means that they have put the ARC Bratislava car back on terra firma, and Henning Enqvist might be driving back in.
I'll keep an eye on that.
It's a cracking set of sideburns
Yellow
there.
at Marshall's Post 31 now.
That's entry to the Ford, to the Porsche curves. Well, that can't be Enqvist. Can't have got there that quickly and gone off again, so somebody else may have.
Keep an eye. 49 is there. It is Enqvist. He's gone off again.
How has he got to Porsche curves so quickly?
49 is now at Porsche curves, and Henning Enqvist for the third time in a single lap has managed to go off the circuit. That is not going to impress race control, whatever the issue. Safety car called now.
And in fact, it's not the in at Porsche curves.
It's beyond there, isn't he?
Yeah,
it's
he's gone off at karting, hasn't he? He's gone off where everyone's gone off.
So safety car has been called.
So this is the umpteenth safety car. What's this, the 5th or the 6th now?
Let's have a quick look.
I didn't know where to look on your touchy-feely screen, so I didn't want to interrupt things.
Right.
Right, while Graham talks amongst yourselves, while Graham looks on the screen of everything, I'm writing down in the notebook, in the bumper book, that at 02:42 we have a safety car, and that's because the number 49 car, the ARC Bratislava LMP2 entry, has gone off at the karting. Third off this lap.
This is safety car number 6.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if it was 5 or 6. I felt pretty sure we'd had 5. We had 2 together pretty much, didn't we? So that's sort of, you know, it all blends into one in the end, doesn't it?
And well, let's have a quick look where the class leaders are. Could this help or could this hinder closing some of those gaps? The number 7 and the number 8 car are behind safety car C.
Yes, because they weren't far enough apart to be separated. You need to be about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes behind somebody to be separated. There's Enqvist, and he has gone out wide. It's not a big off, but it looks like he's sort of
brushed the barrier.
Do you know what? It looks like he doesn't have steering.
No, maybe.
Is it not turning left?
It might be that. It might be that.
If he's got a broken steering arm and he's just trying to limp it back. Here's the IDEX Sport garage. Mimo Rojas at the wheel of the IDEX Sport car. Right. Will Owens stops behind the safety car in the 32 car. In fact, he's gone out, so he's been released.
So the 2 leaders in LMP1 are behind the same safety car. That is safety car C.
Yes.
The 2 leading cars in LMP2 are again separated by 2 safety cars, with the 26 car towards the back of the queue in safety car C, and the 36 midway through a gathering queue in safety car B.
I tell you what, again, the ARC Bratislava car goes off. You can see that's why the safety car is out, to rescue him, not from there. He was rescued from there under slow zone, but in fact then has gone off in karting, piste in the Porsche curves. That's where he went off. The car just rolled over the right-hand side and down the barrier. Left front wheel, not turning left, it was turning right there. I don't think that he's got control of that car with the steering wheel.
Well, certainly not sufficient to get it through the Porsche curves.
Yeah, and I don't think he was going quickly either.
No. Just looking to see what the net effect is going to be on our GTE Pro class. 92 is the leading car at the moment. That car and the chasing 51 are both behind the same safety car.
What I was going to say before we saw the replay is, Ho Pin Tung in the 38 Jackie Chan DC racing car is in the same safety car queue as the LMP2 leader.
Yeah.
And Roman Rusinov has caught nearly a lap on the third place car.
Yeah.
The 26G drive car has lucked in not once, not twice, but 3 times now with the safety cars, and he is behind the third place car in the safety car queue. Ho Pin Tung is 4 minutes 45 seconds behind the leader in LMP3 and is lapping at 4 minutes 46 a lap behind the safety car. So in fact, Ho Pin Tung in the 38 Jackie Chan car, the G-Drive car, could almost literally be the car right behind him.
Absolutely right. And meantime, looking what else is occurring here, we've got the cars in third. That looks like it's the end, I'm afraid, for RC Bratislava. Distraught Michaela.
Yeah.
That's sad to see.
Very, very
sad. It's a plucky little team, this is.
Yeah.
You know, quite right.
But it may not be the end. They may yet get it back to the pit lane. If they could drag him out of the wall,
yeah,
well, he's still got to somehow get through the chicane and then negotiate the pit entry. And he actually, that might be the worst cut of all. If he can't turn left, he's not going to get through the pit entry, and he'll block that, and that really will be an issue.
Yeah, by the way, anybody who's thinking, oh yeah, look at that, it's just a girl crying, I wouldn't say it to your face. And I certainly wouldn't say it in front of her team, because that is a well-knit little team.
But all the time and effort that goes into this,
it's
grown men cry all the time here.
Absolutely, it's a massively emotional process, endurance racing.
Just saw Norman Nato, no he didn't, he's already left the pit lane. Who do we see ducking into the pit lane there? As one of the LMP2 cars dived in. Augusto Farfus for MTEC BMW. What will be their last race in the World Endurance Championship. He's gone in and out through the pits. GTE AM class, Felipe Fraga is 3 minutes 51 seconds ahead of Christian Ried, who's now up to second again in the Dempsey Proton Porsche. Charlie Eastwood third, is 2.3 seconds behind him. So the Keating Motorsport car is two safety cars ahead of the battle for second in GTE AM. So they have maintained that advantage. And you know, Alan was saying this earlier on, when you get that, if you're 2 or 3 minutes in front, you're never going to get caught in the same safety car.
No, that's
it just doesn't happen because there are 3 different safety cars. So
it's just going to be, the luck is going to come when someone is on pit lane. That's the point. That's where it's going to be. And if you have to pit and you're then caught at a red light, as we saw happen earlier with one of the Toyotas, that's the end, I'm afraid, for ARC Bratislava. Another adventure.
And it has been a huge adventure for this team. Look, that right front wheel, I think that's been his problem all the way around the lap. It might have been caused by an off of his own making at Mulsanne corner, but that is definitely what put him off the road at Indianapolis. However, where are they towing him to?
Let's keep an eye on that.
They're not going to tow him all the way around to the pit lane.
No, they'll go to the. Normally go to the closest place of safety.
Yeah,
would be normally the way, and at that stage, it will be all over.
Where is there a place of safety in the Porsche curves? Right at the end of the Porsche curves, they'll get him there and then push him back behind the barrier.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if there is a behind the barrier. No, there isn't anymore, because the Porsche curves now have got that big final runoff area.
It's karting.
No, because that's all runoff area now. There's nowhere behind the wall for it to go, is there?
Well, where they put the 17 car. All cars bear exiting
in the skip.
Yeah, yes.
The 17 car, it's no longer shown on our screen, so they've either turned off all the power and therefore the telemetry has gone, which is probably what's happened. Okay, here is our third place car in the LMP1 category. This is Nathaniel Berton for the Rebellion team.
I can tell you the 49 car at the moment on my tracker is going backwards, which means it's presumably being reversed behind the wall.
It's going, back along the Porsche curves on the other side. Second place, number 8, Toyota Gazoo Racing, Sébastien Buemi. Number 1, no, the leader rather, is the number 7, Toyota Gazoo Racing entry of Kamui Kobayashi. We are halfway through the Le Mans 24 hours, give or take 9 minutes, let's not argue about it. Toyota Gazoo Racing 1-2 from Rebellion and SMP. The second Rebellion car delayed, it's 3 laps back. G-Drive lead by almost a full lap over the LMP2 field. They've been lucky in the brakes with all the safety cars, and Signatech Alpine a long way ahead of Jackie Chan DC's 3rd place car, but still an awful lot of water to flow under the bridge. It's a very fluid race further back in LMP2. You can see there are some very small gaps indeed. GT Pro class, again the lead pair, the 92 Porsche, last year's winners, and the 51 Ferrari are now 2 safety cars ahead of the remaining battle, which is 91, 93, 63, 69, 94, beg your 67. They're all together. Then the 94 car is a further safety car and a bit behind. And then the AM class leader, Keating Motorsports, is 2 full safety car gaps ahead of the 77 versus 90 battle, Dempsey Proton and TF Sport in that battle as well. JMW and WeatherTech, the top Porsche teams, they're 4th and 5th. Project One in 6th position. And struggling, the BMW 81 car, 82 car is just ahead of them in terms of class position, but a long way ahead of them on the road. And then we've just lost the 49 ARC Bratislava car, the 97 Aston Martin, substantially rebuilt and very delayed. Kessel Racing still running, Baikonur's still barely running, and then the 71A, of course, Ferrari, the 95 Aston, the 98 Aston, the 88 Dempsey Proton Porsche, the 10 Dragon Speed car, and the 64 Corvettes have all had the door brought down on them. ARC Bratislava still not sure what's happening to their car. Their driver, who was in the wheel, the 25-year-old Swede, Henning Enqvist, had been off at Mulsanne corner, broken right steering, put him off as well at Indianapolis. He was rescued from the gravel, and then in the first left-hander of the Porsche curves could no longer turn the car. It ran along the barrier on the right-hand side in the Porsche curves, and that was the end of that.
It's my guess that they're being told by race control that it's not safe to continue.
Yeah.
And that, I think, would be fair comment. He's been off the track 3 times on this lap, and there's only so much you can do, really.
I have to say, not sure if it was cause or effect of the bing on the wall, that broken steering. Looking, the way he came away from Indianapolis in a pretty straight line, he may still have had some steering there, but definitely once he hit the wall in the Porsche curves, that was the end of it. And that's really heartbreaking because, as we saw when the Toyota broke down there a couple of years ago, you know, you're within a 5-minute walk of the pit entry.
Indeed, you're so close to home, but yet so very, very far.
Yep.
And you could see on the faces of everybody in that garage, little team, been trying for a long time to come back here. They've been back here through their adventures in Asia twice in the last 3 years.
Yep.
This means a lot.
I'm with you, Andrea. Just I have no news, so nothing to tell you. Okay, don't leave me alone here.
I missed that one. What was that?
I'm with you, Andre. I just have no news for you. Okay, don't leave me alone here. Hello, is there anyone there? Guys, talk to me, hello?
Car 36, where are you?
Well, no, it's not that. Andre Negrão knows exactly where he is. The team know exactly where he is, but he was just checking that his radio hadn't died because he hadn't heard from anybody in a while. You don't phone, you don't write. We're approaching that witching hour. It is almost 3 o'clock in the morning in France. We are almost at the halfway stage. We're under our 6th safety car. We've had a number of full course yellows and slow zones to protect workers around the track. And this is the 6th safety car period of the race to tidy up the aftermath of the ARC Bratislava cars crashes. Safety car coming in.
It is indeed.
Lights off on all 3 safety cars because there are a trio. This is safety car C. It will pull off after the first chicane on the Mulsanne straight.
That effectively confirms it is the end of the road for the 49 car.
Yeah. Yellows are all in. The track is safe for racing. We are ready to go green. So let's just recap as we get to go green 3 minutes before the midway. Toyota 1-2 in LMP1 from the number 3 Rebellion. G-Drive with almost a lap on the field in LMP2. Signatech, Alpine, Jackie Chan DC Racing give chase. Porsche's 92 car last year's winners in GTE Pro, closely followed by the 51 Ferrari, but they are 2 safety cars ahead of the chasing pack of 8. With the 91 Porsche currently in 3rd. And in the GTE AM class, Keating Motorsports with the 4GT in the wins colours. They lead by 2 safety car gaps ahead of Dempsey Proton and TF Sport, who are in a battle for positions 2nd and 3rd in the class. We are about to go green once more at Le Mans, with half the race done and half still to go. Bated breath as we wait for the safety cars to pull in any moment now. We're going to go green at Le Mans. It's gone utterly silent by our commentary positions. The safety cars have just come up to the Ford chicane, to the first chicane, and to our nage. And listen, there is the cacophony as we go green once more. 12 hours, 2 minutes and 30 seconds remain. We are almost on halfway as the 6th safety car of the Le Mans 24 Hours 2019 pulls in.
Tricky time for the Totas. They've got plenty of traffic ahead of them. They're very close together. There's risk here.
Well, the last time this happened, don't forget, we were told, or the teams, the drivers were told on the radio, that the positions will be frozen until you are clear of traffic. That will clearly be the result again. And unless Kamui Kobayashi in the number 7 car makes a mistake, the number 8 car, Sébastien Buemi, is not going to get by him or be allowed to get by him until they are both free of traffic. And when this happened the last time, Buemi was in front of Mike Conway in the number 7 car, got clear, ran away, but Conway ran him down in a handful of laps before handing over to Kobayashi, who has the lead and will have a growing advantage before Buemi gets out of traffic.
Made short work of that, most of that queue as well, pulled out a further 3 seconds in doing so, took a risk or 2. It's paid off for him at the moment. Still a couple of cars ahead of him on track.
In fact, only one now, that's the 48 LMP2 car, and that was the first of the cars in that safety car queue. So he's cleared almost everybody. He'll get him out of our nage on the run down to the return leg to the pits. And there is the number 8 car going through, followed by the 93 Porsche. This is Earl Bamber, he's chasing Fred Makovici. Last time we saw these two, Makovici was doing the chasing. Bamber in the 95, or the Brumos liveried car, was in 3rd place. The 93 car now, though, behind the European team. The 91 car is in 3rd. P2 car, that's the 31 Dragon Speed engine, and it makes very short work of the Porsche through the Porsche curves. Look at the way the grip and the downforce of the P cars just allow them to whistle through here.
Pastor Maldonado, that is on a charge. He can see the opportunity to utilise the compression of the field to catch back up to Ho Pin Tung.
6 seconds behind Ho Pin Tung, but Tung is now a lap down on the leader. We are at the halfway mark.